Hi everyone, happy Monday. We just wanted to remind you that we have mentor meetups happening this week and next week. So check the weekly email for the dates and the details about that. I know that we are doing a fun Christmas themed, just celebrating the end of the year and all that's happened in your groups. And so I hope that you can try to make it if you can. I know that all your coordinators would love for you to be there. So please make it a priority if you're able.
Hey, it's Landon, and this week I have a resource that hopefully is helpful to your groups. Now, this week, this resource will hopefully be a engaging and opportunity for people to open up and answer questions and talk about maybe some meaningful things, but also hopefully it's fun too. So this will be called Who Am I? That's the name of the activity. And what you'll do is you'll secretly write or maybe tell just one person. So don't let everyone know, but tell someone a broad job, like a teacher or garbage collector or firefighter or hot dog vendor, okay? Any broad job like that. And then what you'll do is you'll have everyone in the group ask yes or no questions to that person until they figure out the job. Once someone guesses it, their turn's over, they win, or whatever you want to do. They get a high five. And then you'll keep going with everyone in the group. And then at the end, you might open up a question like, Jeremy, would you want to be a hot dog vendor or a teacher or a firefighter? Which one and why? And so you can ask some meaningful questions and you can try to gain some insight into what they want to do with their life when they grow up, if they've thought about that at all. And then also you can allow them to work together by listening to one another carefully because they have to hear the yes and no's and remember them. Teamwork will happen because they're asking questions together. They don't want to ask the same question, hopefully. And then also they'll have to be thoughtful and creative with their questions to figure out which job they're talking about. So hopefully it's a helpful activity and your group will be able to get to know one another and you can learn a little bit about them. See ya.
Hello, everybody. For this week's devotion, we're going to be in Mark 6, and we're going to be covering kind of some verses in between some of the typical stories you hear from Mark 6. We've got Jesus feeding the 5,000, him walking on water, some really big things, of course, but want to highlight some things in regards to the topic of rest within these verses. And this is something that my church at Southeast Christian has been focusing on recently, so some of this might be a little bit familiar to you all, but I just think there's some really good applicable things that apply to the mentor role in here. So starting at verse 30, this is after Jesus has sent all the apostles out. They've returned and they're hungry. And so actually going to verse 31, it says, then because so many people were coming and going, they did not even have a chance to eat. He said to them, come with me by yourselves to a quiet place and get some rest. So they went away by themselves to a boat to a solitary place. But many who saw them leaving recognized them and ran on foot all throughout the towns and got there before them. When Jesus landed and saw the large crowd, he had compassion on them and he began to teach them. So obviously this is a situation where Jesus had these plans to rest with his disciples, a good thing, something that should be done, and it didn't happen. Something unexpected came up. I think even God in the flesh, had this moment where there can be things unexpected that arise, and of course he chose in that moment to do something outside of what he was expecting to do and to rest, and instead of resting, to teach his people. So of course a lesson there is that we sometimes aren't going to get in the season that we want the rest we expect, whether that be in mentoring, whether that be in raising kids, whether that be in many other seasons. There's different times where we may not get exactly what we need or feel like we want, but of course there can be rest that we find amidst that. So I think that leads us to this other verse that I love. After all these things happen, verse 45, it says, immediately Jesus made his disciples get into the boat and go on ahead of him to Bethsaida while he dismissed the crowd. After leaving them, he went to a mountainside to pray. So even after all this, after all these things, this rest that he wanted, the number one thing Jesus did was pray. And I think it's obviously something we hear a lot, we say a lot, but I also think when we talk about rest many times often, the lesson is, or people say the lesson is to find physical rest, to get away from everything. And of course that is a beneficial thing to do. But I love in this moment, and as Carl, our pastor at Southeast, put it, he said, the best rest is spiritual rest. And I do think that is very true. I think there's something with prayer that we can bring our burdens to him, but we also literally find a rest and a rejuvenation that comes when we go to the Father and we rest in his arms in that way. And so I think over the season, with the season of busyness, and specifically with your mentor groups, there's a lot of potentially heavy things that can exist. I don't know if you all can hear that in the background right now. I've got 2 kids running around making lots of noise and making rest a little bit hard, but we know that there's always spiritual rest that can be found, and that is found in prayer, and that is found in physical rest, but just something, encouragement for us to be doing during this holiday season. So hope this blesses you all, and as always, if you have any thoughts on the devotion or anything else in this video, send it our way. We'd love to talk to you all about it. Hope you'll have a good rest of your week.